Welcome into another episode of Red Zone Talk. I'm Owen Burke. He's Tim Hunt. Episode 23. We
Hmm.
love talking about football. So, um, got a light but full show ahead of us. Not going to talk about the abomination that the Pro Bowl has turned into. We could fill another hour and a half of how to fix it, but I feel like we've done that for 3 years at this point, so we're not going to do it.
It's tiresome at this point. We've talked about it every year, and it just is. There's no point in doing it anymore, honestly. So
I think my only thought, I still think peak Pro Bowl was bringing in your two legends. They draft the teams, doesn't matter the conference, and then you play it out. Those are the three best years, I think, and the only 3 years that I was really ever interested in the Pro Bowl. So we had like 3 one-score games for the first time, and it's not 48-17. It's it was like a
I don't.
28-21 game one time,
This
20-24.
is gonna sound really bad, but the Pro Bowl has gotten bad when Gardner Minshew is like in.
First ballot. Not a
No,
replacement.
no,
Was he
he's
a replacement?
he's a replacement.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, okay. I thought he just made it.
No. He was a replacement. I don't know who turned it down. I think maybe Mahomes didn't go.
Wait, he's definitely not now.
Well, yeah, I think he was the replacement.
Not as bad of a replacement as Tyler Huntley in my mind. At least Gardner Minshew played more than 4 games.
Somewhat deserved it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was Tua, Lamar, and Patrick.
So I mean, Patty needs to fill in from the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Is
and
Lamar and Tua doing it?
I'm guessing. I haven't heard that CJ Stroud and Gardner were the replacements.
CJ Stroud better have turned it down. There ain't no fucking way Gardner should have made it over CJ, but
Well, CJ was first replacement, so I'm guessing either somebody turned it down, or what. But I don't know.
That's how much we don't pay attention to it. We don't really know.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. So
it does not. It's no longer an accolade. It's not anything that means anything. It is a way to kill a week before the Super Bowl. That is all the Pro Bowl is.
It really, like, all pro meant so much more than.
Oh yeah, it always has.
Yeah, than being a Pro Bowler. So,
but like, still, like 6-time Pro Bowler, you're like, I feel like it somewhat carried weight at one point.
Yeah, I mean, it probably also meant you were all pro that year too. So
yeah, for the most part.
There's 50% chance, right? There's 3 teams in all pro, and then there's 6 spots in the Pro Bowl. So
yeah. So nowadays it's like, hey, we want a bye week before the Super Bowl, so here's something so we don't have to listen to these guys talk about nothing for 2 weeks. Yeah. That's what it is. But we're going to talk about nothing for this week, so get ready. You want to do some trivia here?
Let's do it. Let's jump into it.
I thought, being that is the Pro Bowl, what better time to ask you for the all-time tackle leaders in the Pro Bowl? No, I'm just kidding. Like, Wagner. No, be it that the Super Bowl is around the corner, and I obviously won't get to ask you trivia before the Super Bowl. You'll be asking me. I'm going to ask you to name me. There's 12 names. Obviously, we're looking for 10 of them.
Mm-hmm.
The 12 being that there's a tie at the bottom of this list. All-time passing touchdowns in the Super Bowl. So not single games, Super Bowls, as many Super Bowls as you want as they played in. The list does get a little tricky towards the end just because you have a lot of guys that only played 2 Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowls. But and honestly, some really surprising names that are just off this list as well. But there are definitely some gimmies. I got 3 hints and 3 strikes for you. Hopefully my hints are somewhat decent this week. They never are. But your free hint is obviously Super Bowls, multiple Super Bowls. Think dynasty teams.
Yeah, it's better. Yeah. We're going to go ahead and go with Thomas Edward Brady. That feels
wow.
Like so fun.
What a crazy guess to start this list.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, Mr. 10 games in the Super Bowl. The next closest in our top 10 is 4 Super Bowls played in. He has 10, and he's thrown 21 touchdowns in those 10 Super Bowls.
Okay. I'm going to guess Mahomes is probably here. I'm going to go ahead and say that too.
Mahomes is here. He has 5 touchdowns in his 3 Super Bowls played. Puts him at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on our list.
7th. Okay. Oh man, lower than I thought he'd be. Honestly, I thought he'd be creeping in that top 5.
Yeah, I mean 5 touchdowns in 3 games played.
Man, oh shoot,
is that right?
Does that mean
Doesn't sound right. I thought he played more than 3 Super Bowls.
No, he's played. This is his.
No, this is 4 and 5 years. Is this
4 and 5 years? Up. Yeah.
So he has not played the 4th. Yes, that's
because he lost to Brady in the AFC Championship game, and then Brady went to Tampa and lost the Super Bowl to him there. So,
yep.
Boy, oh boy!
The bottom of our list, just for info, is 4 touchdowns. There's a 3-way tie at the bottom of the list with 4 touchdowns, and only one guy in our top 12 only played in 1 Super Bowl. So
I think I know who that guy is. That guy's at the top.
Guy with the 4 touchdown performance. Everybody else has played 2 or more.
God, do I want to rip that so early? I think I know who that guy is. Is the crazy?
It'd be a nice stab if you could just get it out right without a hint.
I'm gonna go Nick Foles is that guy.
It is not Nick Foles.
Damn. Oh, he caught one. That's gonna screw up his number.
True. Yeah. If you count that, that'd be 4 because he threw for 3 in that game.
Threw for 3, caught the 4th. Damn. Okay.
Part of me doesn't want to count that as a strike because honestly, like that's a pretty solid pull that he had 4 in that game.
I always forget that he caught that, like the Philly. I know, like you don't forget the Philly special, but I always forget he caught the Philly special.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Zach Ertz has a passing touchdown. How about it?
Yeah, Zach Ertz. Let's boy, oh
get some other dynasty guys on here.
Yeah, Peyton Manning's got to be here, right?
You would think.
Really?
I'm not going to count Foles as a strike because the fact that you knew he threw for 3 and caught 1, I'll count it to you. Peyton, I will count as a strike. Surprising. 4 Super Bowls played, only 3 passing touchdowns in those 4 games.
I mean, the last one he won, I don't think he threw a touchdown in it. So
that defense did carry him in that game.
So that doesn't shock me too
Give you
much.
one more free hint. Joe Flacco only had 3 touchdowns.
I wasn't thinking Joe Flacco.
Just the first guy off.
I knew he had 13 touchdowns in that run, something like that.
I think it was 11. 11 no picks. He had 3 of them in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but he played 4 games, so it's like you do the math, and that clearly doesn't check out to be on the 4 list. Mm-hmm. And they also had Ray Rice on that team, so they definitely ran a couple in. Oh, man. Is Big Ben here? Like, that's the other one that scares me because it's like his defenses were good. He only played in 2, I want to say, though, right?
Yeah, he only played in 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah,
I definitely think there's some more gettable names here, too.
Yeah.
Still.
I mean, Joe Montana's here, right?
Number 2, 11 touchdowns in 4 games.
I feel like there's going to be a gentleman on here who maybe didn't win a Super Bowl, but played in 4 of them. Jim Kelly here?
Jim Kelly is not here.
Damn, Jim Kelly's not there, huh?
Which, yeah, I'm surprised. Jim Kelly apparently...
How? He didn't throw a single touchdown in every single one of the Super Bowls he played in?
I have to look at this now because...
That's crazy. That's nuts.
Because I would agree with you, but he's not even listed as one of the guys that has 2 touchdowns.
There's no way.
So let's look.
There's no way Jim Kelly didn't throw.
He threw 2 touchdowns in 1992, and he did not throw a single touchdown the other 3.
That's insane.
Pure Thurman Thomas action.
Wow. Okay, so I'm at 2 strikes. I'm going to use a hint here. I kind of need it clearly.
All right.
Because I got, what, 2 right?
Yeah, you have 2 right. Or you have 3. You have 3 because you have Mahomes, Montana, and Brady.
Okay.
There's still one active guy here. 2 of our 12 guys did not win a Super Bowl MVP. They both only won 1 Super Bowl. One of those guys had a defensive player win his Super Bowl MVP. The other one was a special teams guy, a returner of sorts. That won the Super Bowl MVP in his. You have another. I was honestly. You have a dynasty from the 90s. You have another guy that was part of a dynasty in the 90s, played in 3 Super Bowls. You have
played in 3 Super Bowls.
2 big throwbacks. I want to say, I know one is in the 70s.
Okay.
And then I think the other one is in the 60s. But again, legacy or dynasty guys, very notable names. Not Y.A. Tittle's not sitting here waiting for you or anything.
Right.
One guy played from 70 to 83.
Okay.
And then our other folk played from 69 to 79. So definitely some throwbacks, but definitely 2 guys you would consider dynasty quarterbacks.
One guy still active is very intriguing.
Yeah, and that one guy played in 2 Super Bowls, threw 4 touchdowns. He is one of our bottom guys.
Huh. Rodgers only played in one Super Bowl. Yeah, he's only played in one.
Yes.
So it can't be Rodgers. Joe Flacco played in one. I'm just trying to run through the quarterbacks who have played in a Super Bowl.
Yeah, they've played in two.
Still active. Like Drew Brees only played in one. He's not even active. Goff only played in one. Stafford only played in one.
Technically still on a team.
I mean, Jimmy G played in one.
I think he only made one, yeah.
Yeah, it can't be Jimmy. Man, that modern guy is tough.
You might circle back. And I think when you say his name, it'll click for you. Mm-hmm. But it may take you a second to roll around. It's been forgettable as of late.
Yeah, he must be a backup somewhere, but I'm trying to think of notable backups and nothing's clicking.
He was a starter to start the year this last year.
Oh, he was a starter.
He was a starter to start the year last year.
Boy, that doesn't help at all, I don't think.
I don't know. He should be a starter next year. Maybe.
You said that with a lot of question there.
Probably going to be a free agent, and then somebody will possibly have to pick him up.
Not Kirk D. Cousins. He hasn't been to a Super Bowl. That's the name that popped in my head when you said free agent.
He has not.
Troy Aikman's got to be here, right?
Troy Aikman is here. He has 5 touchdowns in his 3 Super Bowls for number 9 on our list.
And he was one of the 90s guys, I'm assuming?
He was one of the 90s guys, yes. You still have another guy that I would consider a 90s dynasty. Only played in 3 Super Bowls, but it's because he had another great quarterback that was leading his team at a time.
Yeah, I think that gives me to Steve Young then.
It does give you to Steve Young. He's also here. Actually, he only played in 2.
Yeah, I was about to say he didn't play in 3. I knew he played in 2 because they went to 6 as a team. Joe Montana won 4, and then he won 2.
He won 2, and he had 6 passing touchdowns in those 2 games too. Yeah. So he's putting the work in.
Underrated quarterback of all time, Steve Young.
Yeah, I agree.
If he didn't follow Joe Montana, if he just like won 2 Super Bowls with a different team, he'd be viewed in, I think, a different light.
A much different light, yeah.
Older teams that when you say dynasties, like especially 60s and 70s, I mean, it could be the Cowboy. I'm trying to think of who the Cowboys guy is. I can see his face, but I can't put a name to it. But I don't think it's him.
Captain America.
Yeah, Captain America. Roger Staubach comes to mind. I'm not guessing him yet. The other one that comes to mind is Terry Bradshaw. But I just don't know his timeline really well. And you said 79 or 69, 79 to 89?
I believe one was 69 to 79. One was 70 to 83.
70 to 83. Man, 83. Did Terry play that long? Could he have played? And Terry wasn't throwing it like that, all that crazy, I don't think. But he played in 4 Super Bowls, right? So he's got to throw a touchdown in 1 for him to be there. Man, he's really tempted. I mean, I have another hint, so I'm going to use another hint.
So to run through where we are,
I know we got 2 dynasty guys. We got the modern guy.
2 dynasty guys are 3 and 4 consecutively, so they're up here. Our number 5 guy. Not a dynasty, maybe a short-lived dynasty. One of the best offenses of all time. You have 6 and 7. Our number 8 guy is one of our only 2 guys to not win an MVP. He played in 2 Super Bowls, won 1, but a special teamer won the MVP his Super Bowl year.
Yeah, that's not helping me at all, to be honest with you. It's actually hurting.
He played for 4 teams in his career. You remember 1. You probably remember a second one because you got to beat up on him twice a year.
I mean, I don't even know who that could be.
I mean, he played 2 Super Bowls. Definitely a historic franchise. Probably should have won more rings than the one that they got with him. You already have number 9. Number 10 is our current guy. Number 11 would be our Mr. 1 game, 4 touchdown performance. Played in the 90s. I believe he only played with this one team, a trailblazer of sorts, especially when it comes to Super Bowl quarterbacks, Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. And then our number 12 guy, former number 1 overall pick for the Patriots way back when. So played in 2 Super Bowls, threw 4 touchdowns as well. Not great hints, I know.
Man,
giving you career highlights here.
I don't remember if Bledsoe was a number 1 overall pick. I know he played in the 96 Super Bowl with us. I don't think he played in another Super Bowl besides the 96 Super Bowl.
Free hint, not Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah, I didn't think it was.
When I found out this guy was drafted number 1 overall by you, I did not know that he was the number 1 draft. I knew he was the number 1 overall pick, didn't know he was drafted by you. I think of him mainly for another team.
Yeah, and oh gosh, it's not Steve Grogan then. It's the other guy, and I can never remember his goddamn name. He won it with the Raiders too. That's who he won a Super Bowls with.
Definitely the team you think of.
Yeah. Man, and the other guy played for either the Jets, the Bills, or the Dolphins. We beat him up twice a year, and he won a Super Bowl.
Let me see how long he played in your division for.
It's like not more. It's like
there's a couple things that I could say, but I feel like it would give it away if I said it. He only played 1 year in your division. It was the 3rd stop in his career. Drafted by a team, played for the team you remember for a very long time. 1 year stop in the AFC East, and then jetted off to the NFC, back to his old division for a different team for 2 years to end his career.
I mean, this is just not helping me whatsoever. I don't even know who to begin to think who that could be.
You have said a couple names that are on
this
list.
Is it Brett Favre?
That is
who I'm thinking of. Okay.
Indeed. Do you know who won the MVP the year that Brett Favre won the Super Bowl?
It was Desmond Howard, wasn't it?
It was Desmond Howard, punt returner. Special.
I always forget that he was a punt returner.
Yeah. I thought everyone on this list was going to have a Super Bowl MVP, but I was surprised. He and our active guy.
He also played in the Super Bowl.
Our active guy, probably another guy that should have had a dynasty for his team. They played in 2 Super Bowls, but cut short. Very recent as well. Mm-hmm. Kind of jammed in the middle of the Brady years. Not in the middle, towards the end. The Pats Brady years, I think.
See, like, it's not, when you say that, it's like, the active guy, it's not Eli Manning, it's not Breeze, it's not Roethlisberger, it's not Phillip Rivers, it's a guy who started for a team this year.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's been in the headlines. AFC. And when you think of him, you're going to punch yourself in the head, because this is, a well-known guy. Sticks in headlines a lot of times when he's not playing, when he is.
Like, I don't even know who the hell this could be. Like, oh, it's Mr. Unlimited.
Dude,
that's who it is.
When we were starting, and I was like trying to make sure nobody had any Super Bowl MVPs. I almost said that out loud, and I was like, "Oh, you can't say that. You're going to give away one of your answers."
Mr. Unlimited. That's who it is.
Yeah, Russell Wilson, number 10 on our list, threw 4 touchdowns in the 2 Super Bowls with Seattle.
That is quite embarrassing. It took me that long to get Russell Wilson. I forgot he played in 2.
But again, you just, especially with now, like, I have a hard time remembering he exists a lot of the times. So, all right.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have 7 so far, which I think is how many I had last week, if I remember correctly.
I'm gonna just rip Terry Bradshaw. I think I'm ready to rip him.
Number 3 on our list.
Okay.
He had 9 passing touchdowns in his 4 games. So, he was slinging it around a decent bit back in the day.
I'll throw out Roger Staubach now. I'm ready to die on that hill.
Number 4.
Okay.
Glad you doubled back around. I was like, man, if he doesn't double back to those 2, that's gonna
yeah.
suck.
I'm like, it's got to be those 2, right? I'm just thinking of dynasties of the time.
8 touchdowns in 4 games as well. So
I'm at 9.
You are at 9. So there's 3 names left.
Okay.
If you can remember your old number 1 overall pick from way back when, if you can remember his name.
Oh gosh, it's gonna drive me nuts when you say it too, because he won it with the Raiders. Man, I can see him. He's throwing it. Oh man. It's just not something I've thought about for a while, so it's going to drive me insane.
The other guy won his only ring, not with the dynasty. I believe it was the 90s. I'll have to double check. I'm not super polished, but again, a trailblazer.
John Elway.
Not John Elway.
Okay, I'll live with that die. I'll eat the hint.
Another guy that I was surprised that wasn't on here, because he played in 3. I want to say, right?
2 Super Bowls.
2.
I think. Oh no, he played in 3. Because he won 2.
Lost 1.
Yeah, lost 1.
He actually played in 5 and only
wow.
threw for 3 passing touchdowns in those 5 Super Bowls.
Overrated.
So, the last guys on here, you still got 9 out of 10. Not a bad week at all.
It's not Gannon, is it?
No. That honestly, I could definitely see if there's a name that you would get twisted up with this guy. I could see Rich Gannon being the guy. Jim Plunkett.
Jim Plunkett, damn it. Oh, war number 16 too. God damn.
Right there.
Okay.
So he was number 12, one of our bottom guys. The only guy to make this list while only playing in one Super Bowl, the Trailblazer, Doug Williams of the Washington Redskins.
Oh yeah, first African American
touchdowns in his game.
He wasn't even like a long-term starter there too. He's a pretty wild story.
Yeah. And then your guy that you missed all the way up at number 5, played in 3 Super Bowls, threw for 6 touchdowns, Kurt Warner.
See, I was thinking him. Like when you said the modern guy, he came to mind because he played in one with the Rams, one with the Cardinals. So I
think it was 2 with the Rams, 1 with the Cardinals, right?
Oh, 2 with the Rams, yeah, because he lost to Brady in one of the Super Bowls. I didn't know if he played in the 2000 or 99 Super Bowl. I don't think he played in the 2000 because who'd the Ravens beat in that Super Bowl?
No, that was the Giants. Kerry Collins.
Yeah, Kerry Collins. That Super. Yeah,
he destroyed them in that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Helped him to 7 points.
You kept saying a defensive player won Super Bowl MVP. I'm guessing, did Russell lose it to somebody?
Russell Wilson, yeah. Malcolm Smith, remember, won. That was the 43-8 game over the Broncos that year.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, when they beat Manning the first time through. Malcolm Smith, I think, had 2 picks, and one of them was a pick 6, and like 7 or 8 tackles, too.
Damn.
Pretty solid game. Yeah, that's true for the week. You got 9 right. Not a bad week at all.
No, I'd say so. So that puts me up to. We didn't really recap it, but I'm at 540. You're at 510.
Got some ground to make up.
Yeah. So we'll have 2 more at least where we run trivia before after post Super Bowl. We'll take a break and then come back for draft season. Shoot a couple then. So.
Oh yeah, brother.
All right, you ready to jump into some game recaps here?
I am.
First game we're going to kind of talk about is Chiefs-Ravens.
You want to start with this one?
Yeah, I do, because it was the first game. And let's talk about the Ravens first. This is a game to me where, and this is going to sound, I want you to hear me out because this is how I truly feel.
All right.
This is a game where you expected Lamar Jackson to have this game earlier in his career, but because of injuries, because of the team letting him down, like he hadn't had this chance yet. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like he hadn't really had the experience to be there. This feels like CJ Stroud last week. This feels like the same for Lamar, where maybe the moment felt big, I want to say. And the other thing I want to say too is Zay Flowers put that receiving core on his back. He was the only guy. Like OBJ caught 2 or 3 balls that game.
Yeah, there were. I believe it was 3, and 2 of them were back-to-back passes on the last drive of the game.
So
Aguilar had 1 big catch.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know if a receiver caught a pass.
It felt like to me this is the kind of game where Lamar overthrew a lot of balls, and that's the only reason I say the game felt big is because it wasn't like, okay, hey, nerves got me, I overthrow 1. It just kept happening, and there was no correction. Yeah, and the main point I was trying to make about Zay Flowers, anyone who's criticizing him, for a rookie trying to make a play, being the only guy doing anything, it's insane to me that you would have criticism for him. It's go ahead.
People are gonna zone in on that fumble and the taunting, right? Chiefs fans doubled up on him so quickly on that drive, right? What the hell is Zay Flowers doing? This, that, the other. Zay Flowers had 115 yards, and had L'Jarius Sneed not punched the ball out, he has the exact same stat line on 4 less catches than Travis Kelce. I don't want to hear the slander, firstly. Secondly, I relearned why I never talk shit during or before a football game, because a lot of Chiefs fans are talking about L'Jarius all week. I was like, he's been solid. I don't think he's let up a touchdown. He's had a really good year. But, people were calling him the best corner in the league. A couple people at work were saying that. And I was like, all right, let's relax a little bit. L'Jarius was the one that got toasted on, the 50-yard route that was the taunting call from Zay. And so I put in one of our group chats, and I was like, best corner in the league, my ass. 3 plays later. Forced fumble at the goal line. And I wanted to die. But
yeah, And the penalties were not a good look, right? The penalties are something you can overlook. Kyle Van Noy, first off,
come on.
I forgot Kyle Van Noy existed, but Kyle Van Noy's won a Super Bowl, right? He knows what it takes.
10-plus year vet.
Yeah, it's nuts to me that he's out there doing something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that I could sit here and talk about in this game. I want to mention the refs first because as
Really?
much like I just want to get it out of the way because there were some calls that were missed. Obviously, it's football; it happens, right? Travis Kelsey's touchdown in the right corner of the end zone. There was a hold and illegal hands to face in the same play from both of their tackles in that game. The refs did us no favors down the stretch, missing pass interference calls here and there. That's not why we lost the game. I had a couple buddies try to be like, "Oh, well, the refs cost you that game." No, we did not play well enough to win that game. Bottom
And
line, period, end of point.
and I'll say too, as an objective viewer, I wouldn't like. I watched the whole game, right, start to finish live. I didn't see any egregious misses. Like it wasn't like I wouldn't have said the refs were favoring one team or the other the whole game.
No, and there's going to be missed calls, right? And of course, the
Yeah.
screenshots from the game afterwards are always going to be like, "Look at this, look at that, look at this." I'm like,
The losing
okay.
team can always pull 35 screenshots and be like, "This is why we lost." It's like, yeah, that's easy to do.
I think there was 3 possible pass interference plays against Kansas City that should have been called down the stretch. None of them were called, but again, Baltimore did not play well enough to win that game. As much as the refs didn't do us any favors in the last 6 minutes, we didn't do ourselves any favors through the first, 44, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Like we did not play well enough to win that game at all. So that's why I wanted to talk about the refs because it did bug me, but again, not the reason we lost. We lost because we didn't play well. Yeah, Kyle Van Noy, that one sucked. Made me hate Travis Kelsey a bit because I never liked the guys that like start stuff and then clap after the penalty comes in. I get it's part of the game. I hate that. I hate it. It sucks.
That never bothered me any. I was like, whatever. It's part of the game. Like you got to be the bigger. It's like what's the rule when you're a kid? It's never the person who throws the first punch, but the kid who reacts to the first punch. That's the kid who always gets in trouble. Like it's the same thing with football. Like,
and out of anybody to commit that penalty on my defense, for it to be the guy that's been there, done it for 10 years.
Shocked. Yeah.
What are we doing, Kyle?
Blown away.
Yeah, I mean, we just didn't play well. I don't know what 3-year-old was calling plays for us offensively. Whoever was in charge of our play calling, to me, should have been canned. Here's your maddening stat of the day, and this frustrated me so much when I read it after the game. Baltimore was 11-1 this season when their running backs touched the football at least 20 times. They were 3-4 when they had less than 20 touches from their running backs. Do you know how many times our running backs touched the ball on Sunday?
No.
6.
Yeah, I mean
6 touches.
To be fair to that too, like, I mean, one, Todd Monken is not a younger OC. Like, I guess he's been around, but like, I mean, this is new for him being in this level of game.
First time he's been in an AFC title game, yeah.
And the Chiefs ran up like, I mean, it was 17-7 at the end of the first, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you're playing from behind, and it's always whenever you're down, 2 scores like that, it is a little scarier to try to make it up with just trust in the run game.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like the run looked good early. There was a clip from the point where it was 17-7. Gus Edwards ripped a 12-yard carry, and I think that was one of his 3 touches all game. And you're like, people are like, oh, if Keaton Mitchell was healthy, this would be a different game. Keaton Mitchell would have had 1 carry for 34 yards. That would have been it because we wouldn't have went back to it. But the defense played horrible in the first half. Could not get a stop. Lost the time of possession battle 21 minutes to 9 in the first half. That's not winning football. You got to get off the field. And then in the second half, the defense makes the adjustment, right? Shuts out Patrick Mahomes and company in the second half. And we wanted Lamar to throw the ball all day. They made Lamar a passer, and, there's a couple times where he was gun shy on running when he shouldn't have. Like the strip sack, and of course, hindsight's 2020. The strip sack from Aminihu, there's a screenshot about 3 seconds before he gets hit. There are 2 wide open lanes with nothing but 10 to 20 yards of grass in front of him. And he stays in the pocket, gets hit. And it's because he had a receiver open downfield or was about to. Because he's coming off the field there. He's like, that's 6. Should have let the ball go faster. But
It was tough too. That interception at the end was just bad. Like triple coverage, like there was no shot, and that was the first ball he underthrows all night. Is the one into triple coverage. I was like, dude, if there was a time to overthrow it and maybe throw it 5 yards deep, it would have been that play. It was not the time to start rein it in. It was. Yeah, again, I don't hold it against him too much because it felt like, hey, this is the first time in this. Like sometimes it takes guys like a game or two to kind of figure it out, and this was his first chance to kind of get there.
Yeah, and I felt like our defense did him no favors in the first half. I feel like our play calling didn't do him any favors throughout.
The biggest thing with the defense that drove me insane, it's like if you're looking at the Chiefs offense and you go, okay, if I have to pick somebody to not beat us, it's going to be Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
And like the fact he wasn't doubled the whole game, like I just was like blown away. I was like, why?
We cleaned it up in the second half, and I'll talk about Mike McDonald when we get down to his name because we're going to talk about it.
It looked better in the second half, but I was still like, man, that is. Yeah. I was like, what was the thought?
And partial credit to the Chiefs. They knew that Kyle Hamilton was going to be the guy in single coverage there. And the touchdown that Kelce had, Kyle Hamilton couldn't have played it any single better. There was not better coverage that you could have played in that spot.
And the sad thing is anyone who hasn't been exposed to Kyle Hamilton looks at that game and goes, man, is he really like he is a top 5 safety in this league? Yep. And the dude's in his second year. Like he is special, like really good. Like he has let up one touchdown all year to tight ends, and it was that game. Like that maybe was the worst representation of who he is as a pass defender. Like I love Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton's going to get the bag. He's not Ed Reed at all. Like he is maybe the best like man-to-man safety that we've seen in maybe in the last 20 years. Like it's I know that's crazy to say, but like it's really hard. It's really hard to find guys to cover tight ends, and he's really good at it. Like really good at it. So
he just happened to be matched up against the best in the game on Sunday.
Yeah, and
refused to provide any help at all.
And I know let's talk about the Chiefs now. I know the Patriot comparisons are going to get old, but this is exactly what the Patriots did, right? Travis Kelce looked mediocre all year. Towards the end, Gronk, like Gronk, think Buccaneers Gronk, right? Gronk. He looked mediocre all season. And then the playoffs, you're like, where has this guy been? And that's exactly what Travis Kelce, I know Travis Kelce still had 900 yards, but like everyone was like, something feels off. Is he not as focused? Is it this? Is it that? Right?
Is he going to hang it up?
Is it time? Yada, 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 yada. And then it's like, he's like, actually, I've just been waiting for now. Like I understand. Like I'm 32. I can't do it for 20 weeks like I could when I was younger. So I'm saving a lot of it for right now. And he looked damn good. Like he knew the times where he said, okay, this is a play. I got to get open. And he got open. Like that weird floater pass on the third down. You know what I'm talking about?
Dude. That was fucking insane.
He just like, I don't even know how Mahomes threw that. It was almost like he threw like a really heavy baseball and just went up and then it just dropped down on him. I was like,
I don't know how he threw it. And I don't know how Travis caught it. Like that was one of those plays where I'm like, this is exactly why they've been here 6 years in a row.
Yeah.
Like, it is so difficult to beat that team.
That defense played as well as you could have hoped for them to play. Like Kelce made plays happen when they needed to. MVS has been so disappointing for them all year. Not game on the line, but to seal the game away.
Yeah.
Makes an insane catch, just the catch that you need to have. So, I know there's been a lot of talk about, does this put Kelce or Mahomes in that top tier quarterback class? And my answer is yes. Like genuinely, like to say he's not in the Mahomes, Manning, Brady category. Like I'm not saying he's 1, I'm not saying he's 2, but he's definitely in that conversation now without question.
Win, lose, or draw come the Super Bowl, he could retire at the podium and be a Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. Without easily. First ballot Hall of Famer.
First ballot. Yeah. Not a question.
No doubt.
That's insanity after 6 years to say that. And like, I remember 2 years ago, like, we're placing bets, we're doing this, we're doing that. And I was like, he has earned this Brady-esque trust of where you just don't bet against him. It's not good for your wallet to ever bet against Patrick Mahomes. And he proved it again this weekend.
We've seen 2 guys beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, Tom Brady and Joe Burrow. Like that's kind of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's pretty wild to say that That's what it's come down to. But I'm happy for the Chiefs. It's well deserved, right? Like, again, it's one of those games you look back at it, and if you told Ravens fans, "Hey, you're gonna hold the Chiefs to 17," you're like, "Sweet, do we win
Good
by?"
win. On to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, did we? How much did we win by? It's like you didn't. You lost. You only put up 10 points.
Yeah,
and it comes down to one side of the ball. And I know they played Mark Andrews. Who's your other tight end? I can't remember the guy's name. Isaiah Likely. They shouldn't have played Andrews. Andrews had one catch or two catches the whole game.
I think one catch on 2 targets. He should have played.
I was sitting there and I was like, man, Isaiah Likely looked good when he got chances. And I was like, man, I'd be playing him. I'd take Andrews out.
I'm never a fan of succeeding in 10 weeks of football and then trying to change it in the postseason. Even if you're adding one of the best players on your team back, it throws off everything you've done in 10 weeks. Now I don't know if it was Des Bryant or somebody after the game. It wasn't Antonio Brown because I would have just ignored it. There was a retired receiver that was like, Mark Andrews, the reason they lost that game, just came in, threw all the chemistry off. All right, let's fucking relax.
I don't know about that, but it definitely fell off for sure.
Yeah, it didn't. I don't think it helped at all. Like, I think it just, generated a lot of noise. People were looking for it. Vegas was probably happy because they got some extra money because people thought he was going to come in and, get some games in. Bean's getting a little aggressive there.
Yeah, she just nipped at me because she wasn't happy that I wasn't petting her for a second. So she did that.
The last couple things for the Chiefs real quick. I love Travis Kelce, always have. I love New Heights, great podcast. I have the Taylor Swift stuff never bothered me. I don't understand why some grown men get so upset about seeing Taylor Swift for 3 minutes of a 2-hour football broadcast, 3 hour
not
football
even
broadcast.
Like 30 seconds.
It's it's never made sense to me. Like, your life must be pretty fucking sad if that's a thing that really annoys you that fucking much. But this whole just the little bit of chirping in the game, he fucking torched us. And then this whole Justin Tucker smear campaign afterwards that he's going on New Heights. He's talking about it on Pat McAfee today.
Yeah.
Justin Tucker's done that same thing for 12 years. No one has ever had a complaint except for Patty and Travis. And also, guess where Harrison Butker was warming up while that incident was happening?
On the other side of the field.
On the other fucking goal line, right next to Lamar Jackson. So Travis Kelce is I don't know what it is. Because Travis Kelce doesn't have he has no need to go after Justin Tucker. And even after the game, people are talking to Justin about it and it is what it is. There's no reason to talk about it. I don't know why we're making a big deal of it. And then Travis goes on 2 other shows and is like, oh, if you want to be a dick, I can one-up you every time. Okay, Mr. Fragile Ego, let's calm the fuck down here. It's not that big of a deal. I don't know why we're talking about it 4 days removed.
See, I think McAfee was just searching for something. And and it had to be talked about on New Heights, right? If you have your own podcast and you're involved in something like that, you have to kind of talk about it. Do I think it really mattered? I think it was everybody was trying to push each other's ego more than it was anything.
Well, and the fact that Tucker comes out after the game and is like, that's not that big of a deal. I don't know why we're talking about whatever. And then 3 days removed, he's like, oh, fucking nobody fucking gets in the way of my quarterback. I don't know. Tucker gave us the out to squash it. We didn't have to talk about it. Here we are 3 days removed. And it's literally probably the third biggest storyline from the game is that BS that happened pregame.
Yeah, I don't know, and maybe he thinks the Chiefs need some juice, that's what he's doing with it. I don't know. It clearly wasn't a big enough distraction for them to cost the game. So
yeah, the last thing, through all of the win, through all the success, beating my team multiple times, 6 straight AFC title games, 4 Super Bowls in 5 years. I've never Taylor Swift, all of it. Never been a Chiefs hater. Haven't been that guy. I enjoy good football, and they play good football. They have the best quarterback, one of the best tight ends of all time. They play good football. I enjoy football. I've resisted all of the Chiefs hater and everything that everyone has ever put on them. The way that Chiefs fans acted after that game, and more specifically, came at me. I had a couple people at work, and I had a couple friends that came at me. They were texted me individually, sending me memes, this, that, and the other. You know me. I'm Mr. Respectful all week. It's going to be a dogfight. You have the best quarterback in the game. I feel like my guys played the best football in the last 10 weeks. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a dogfight. I'm ready to get it over with. I've been nervous and anxious all fucking week, ready for Sunday. Let's just, then people are coming at me after the game, like, don't fucking doubt L'Jarius Sneed. I'm getting sent yawning emojis. I'm like, yep, all right, well, come Super Bowl Sunday, I'm gonna go to Bryce's fucking closet, break out a Niners jersey. Like, I have no choice but to root against this team now. And it's as another, I mean, Travis Kelce a little bit with this whole Justin Tucker BS that we're seeing, but like, you're allowed to celebrate, right? Your team's going to the Super Bowl for 4 times 50 years. Fucking post it on Twitter. Be happy about it. You deserve to celebrate. I'm happy for my Chiefs, my friends that are Chiefs fans. The people that are coming at me after this win, like I've been talking shit all week or anything of the sort, like just really soured my taste for the team and for the game in general. And that's honestly, like, Sunday night, that was the thing that I was most upset about. I'm like, football happens. You're going to lose games, right? Unless you're Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes or a fan of the two, you're going to deal with playoff losses. It happens.
I mean, Tom Brady lost a lot of playoff games. You know what I mean? He went 10 years without a Super Bowl, so it happens. It's part of the game.
So it's part of it, right? And I'm at the end of the day, I'm never like, did it bum me the fuck out? Yeah, obviously it bummed me the fuck out. But like, at the end of the day, it's a game of football. I'm not gonna let it fucking sink me into this horrible depression. But like, my friends like coming at me after the game for no fucking reason, that hurt my feelings. I won't lie to you. And I will be swag surfing on their grave if San Francisco gets the job done in a week and a half.
I think that's more of a representation of your friends than it is the Chief fan.
Oh, I agree. Trust me. I've got the names. I got receipts. Now I'm waiting. I swear to God, if the Niners pull it off, I'm all those 4 people I'm going straight back at. So
going right at them. Mm-hmm. So let's jump into the next game here. 49ers versus the Lions. We'll talk about it from the Lions side. It was sad. I was rooting for Detroit. Like,
everybody was. Who wasn't, except for San Fran?
It just felt like such a good storyline. And it was honestly, in my opinion, a flawless first half by them. It was so good. And if you don't believe in momentum, like, this should have been the game that changes your mind. That momentum, like, is real.
I would go on a limb and say both of them. Because Baltimore had it rolling out of the second half until L'Jarius Sneed punched the ball out for that touchback. Baltimore had it obviously, like, it wasn't as big of a swing.
Yeah.
But like, it felt like during that drive, the long play by Zay Flowers, I'm like, oh, Baltimore's getting back into this. Boy, he punched that ball out, and you could have heard a pin drop in M&T Bank Stadium.
It was, I don't know if that game represented it, because Baltimore really didn't have the momentum, I would argue, at that point in the game.
They were building it. I think it was swinging to their side, and then just L'Jarius Sneed was like, fuck you guys.
Yeah, it's harder to say. Like, it was building, but it wasn't there. Yeah, I think this game, it was like, oh, Detroit's won. Like, everyone thought this game might be over at halftime, right? Like, it felt that way, that Detroit almost had it wrapped, and then you go for it on 4th down, you don't get it. The very next play that your offense has the ball, Jahmyr Gibbs fumbles, right? Like, it just felt like you're like, oh, damn, like, this isn't over. Like, this is very much San Francisco's game at this point. And I there's been a lot said about Dan Campbell and going for it on 4th down. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it, right? Because he was smart at the end of the second half to go for it. I thought that was at the end of the second half to kick the field goal. I thought that was really smart. Yeah. I thought that was the right decision in that moment. Take the points. Let's get out of here. I wish he had done that a couple more times in the red zone. I get that, you've gone for it. That's what got you here. People always say, you should do what got you there. But that was one of those moments where I'm like, man, you're up so much. Like, I think it has to be somewhat situational where it's like, man, we're up by 14 points. Let's make it a 3-score game. Let's just play it smart.
Yeah.
And at least do it once. At the 40, like, I hate that situation. Like, that's almost, I'd rather them punted or at least taken a shot. The drops that spread through that team was very sad to see. Like, it was disappointing. It was heartbreaking. Yeah. I don't have much else to say. I mean, Detroit overperformed, right? This is a young, talented team that's still probably like a piece or two away from being complete. I still like them inside that division, going forward. I know it'll be hard to get back to the NFC Championship, but who knows with the NFC? The NFC's wild, right?
Yeah,
Jordan Love,
Ben Johnson still. So
yeah, Ben Johnson stays, which I think is a big win for them. A really, really big win. that I was shocked that he's staying. I don't understand. He must not like something about the Washington job, because I thought, man, you get your second choice of the quarterback you want. You can kind of build the culture the way you want, and it's not good enough for him. He wants to stay in Detroit, and I respect that for him. But yeah.
Maybe waiting on a better offer. Maybe if people get gun shy about Campbell, he could just take that job. It could be a number of things, but we'll talk about them later on. I think this game was more heartbreaking for Lions fans than it was Baltimore's game was for Ravens fans, truthfully.
I agree, yeah.
To get a 3-4 score lead and then just, watch it slip away. And I will give credit where credit is due. And the Lions fan I'm talking about is Zach, our old buddy at work. Because I asked him what he thought of it, especially that last fourth down call, down 3, 6, 7 minutes left in the game, infield.
To run it there is just insanity.
He's like, that's what got us there all year. And I'm like, well, at some point you got to fucking you got 7 minutes, tie the football game. Your defense has played well. Go get a stop and go down, maybe kick another one, win the game, go score a touchdown then. I definitely do not agree with the last one, man. When you have a chance to tie the ball game in the fourth quarter, within 8 minutes, you do it. You cannot. And now, again, if they're at the 45, the 40, long field goal, maybe we go for it, right? Maybe we punt. You are at the 30-yard line. That is a chip shot for just about every kicker in this league. You tie the ball game, trust your defense, go get a stop. Because I get it. That's what's gotten you here all this way. To me, it somewhat symbolizes a little bit of non-confidence in your defense. You're like, oh, we got to go score again because we got to go up 4 here. We can't tie the football game up. Like, I don't know. I was definitely not a fan of that call at all. And again, I can understand. Well, that's exactly, and respect to Zach, because he's like, well, that's what he stood by the decision. He's like, that's what got us here. We've been doing all year. And I'm like, I get it, man.
That. Yeah,
I get it. That's what's gotten you here. But you're 6 minutes away from a Super Bowl, man. It's okay to just tie the football game up and trust your defense for once. Like, you go from tying the ball game, getting a stop, and hopefully getting the ball back and scoring, to then praying you get a stop and then try to get the ball back and then go down and score, but you have to score a touchdown to win it again. I don't know. I definitely do not agree with the last one.
And then even all of that compounded to the last 2 minutes, or like last 4 minutes of the game, where they're at the goal line and they run the ball, and you're like, the one thing you can't do is run it and lose that last time out, because you lose that last time out, now you're down to the onside kick and the game's over. Like, you're not getting that onside kick.
Yep.
Would they say it was like 4% on onside kicks this season? Something I think ridiculously low.
Yeah. It is not a high percentage play at all.
Yeah. So to sit there, it's like why? Like, I just don't understand, like, why, like, change the pace, run it up, but it's like the risk is not worth the reward. Like,
or you call 2 plays, right? Run the ball, get back to the line, go again. Like, you have to have a second play and go.
It didn't matter. They couldn't. They couldn't. There was not, like, they were so tight on time, you couldn't.
Oh.
Even if they had killed that 20, 30 seconds of clock, it was just over.
Yeah.
So you have to take the time out there. But yeah, I feel bad for San Francisco. I will say I'm still not on the Purdy train, right? Like, I don't know if this game was like, well, Brock showed you. Like, it was like, did Brock show us? Like,
all the Niners have been saying that, and he hasn't played horrible. But
no, he played okay.
I will argue and say that he's had 2 of his worst games of his career the last 2 weeks. Last week was a bad game for Brock Purdy.
They should have lost. They should have lost both. This is the second week in a row they should have lost. Like, they should have lost to Green Bay. They got lucky. And
credit is due. Brock Purdy showed up when it mattered.
Yeah,
right? Down the stretch, last drive of the game, he showed up. I will give credit. I don't want to make it seem like we're just shitting on Purdy and he sucks. He did not play a good game for the first 3 quarters of the last 2 weeks, but he showed up in the fourth. And when you have a great team around you, sometimes that's all you need. Hopefully, the thing is, you can't do that against Patrick Mahomes. Can't play one good quarter of football against the Chiefs and expect to win that game. Trust me, I can speak from experience. Can't play one good quarter and expect to beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, especially with that defense that they got on the other side.
The thing I'll say about Brock Purdy, the most accurate way I've heard him described, he's the opposite of Kirk Cousins. Mm-hmm. Where Kirk Cousins is mediocre and melts in big moments, Brock Purdy is mediocre and then steps up in big moments. Like,
Fair.
that's all.
Yeah.
Like, Brock Purdy is not a top 5 quarterback. There's just no question that he is.
Nope.
Can he be in that like 6 to 12 range? Probably. That's probably where he'll live.
Day.
Yeah. Like, he'll be 6 on the highs, and then he'll probably be, he'll probably fall outside that 12 range once they lose Debo, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, and Christian McCaffrey. But
yeah, I don't see a world where he's top 5. There's too many talented guys for you to break into that category just off the numbers and this, that, or the other. Like, there's a eye test to be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, and he does not pass it.
You could still win a Super Bowl with him, right? Like,
100%.
Like, he is, to me, him and Jared Goff. Like, Jared Goff outplayed him. Yep. Like, he has been outplayed by both quarterbacks. Like, if Detroit doesn't have drops, and I mean, Jordan Love is a second year, or basically a rookie, his first season starting. Like, he doesn't throw an interception late in that game. Like, they had a real chance to win it. You do that against Patrick Mahomes, Mahomes wins that game. And the same thing in Detroit's case, right? Like, he has been very lucky in the situation. Now, I think this Super Bowl could be a big swing for me, right? If he comes out and balls out, like, we're a whole nother conversation.
Against that defense, too? 100%. Who would have thought week 1 of this year, right, if I was like, Super Bowl, Chiefs, 49ers, everyone's like, fucking... That's the easiest. We can make that prediction in my sleep. And then I was like, Kansas City's going to have a better defense. You'd be like, lock this man up. But
yeah,
arguably very true. Like, Kansas City may have the better defense going into this matchup.
It's crazy.
I wouldn't say they're more talented, but I think they've played better football than San Fran has in the last 2 weeks.
This championship weekend featured 3 of the league's top 5 defenses.
Yep.
I think Detroit's defense is the only one that's outside the top 5, right?
I would agree.
Baltimore, San Francisco, Kansas City, 3 of them have the best defenses. So it's like, anyone who thinks the league has become so offensive driven, it's like, has it though? Like,
to a certain degree it has, right? I mean, Miami had a great regular season. We're not playing for regular season wins. Look at what Miami did when they went to Kansas City in week 1 of the playoffs. Shit.
It's defense when you get to the playoffs for sure. Yep. And the craziest part is none of those teams have a defensive head coach. Like, that's the other crazy part. Andy Reid's offense, Harbaugh is
special teams
middleman, kind of does. He's coached all 3, so it's weird. And then Kyle Shanahan is definitely offense driven.
Yeah.
And Steve Wilkes looked like he didn't deserve to be their DC for the first half of that game, and then got it back on track. So, just another interesting tidbit, in my opinion. There. All right, let's talk about your DC. The Seahawks announced today, is that right? Today or yesterday, that they're hiring Mike Macdonald as their head coach. He has now broken the record for the youngest active NFL head coach. Sean McVay was it last year, and then Gerard Mayo got hired, and then Mike Macdonald is now the youngest. So, congrats to him for that. Little bit of a bummer for you guys. I'll be curious to see how you fill that hole. I'm not wild about the fit in Seattle, if I'm being honest with you. Their biggest problem is Geno Smith and that offense. And to bring in a younger guy that's a defensive-minded guy, I didn't felt like made a ton of sense to me. That's not what I would have done. If you wanted to change the pace from Pete Carroll, I get that. He's definitely younger than Pete Carroll, but it also doesn't feel like a direction that, fixes your team.
It's one of those things. And now the fit's another conversation. Truthfully, and you can tell me if I'm being biased, there's a solid chance I might be. I think Jim Harbaugh paired with Justin Herbert makes that hire very, very good. And like, if you want to put Harbaugh over him, cool. I think this is the best head coach that was hired this offseason outside of Harbaugh. Like, and I am heartbroken, depressed to say the least, that he's not going to be in Baltimore next year. The thing that really terrifies me, and Seattle fans should be excited for, is that Baltimore has a big 3 free agents that are unrestricted free agents this year. Patrick Queen, Justin Madubuike has not signed yet. Geno Stone is also a free agent. I would not be shocked to see 1, if not 2 of those guys follow Mike Macdonald.
I'd let 2 of them leave.
I hope we re-sign Madubuike.
I don't.
Truthfully.
Oh, I hate guys like that. Hate them.
I hate it too, but if I can sustain losing Pat Queen. I have Roquan Smith. And if I had to pick a guy that I think would follow Mike Macdonald the most, I think it is Queen. I think he's played the best under Mike Macdonald. He has spoken so highly of him in the media.
Very rarely does signing a guy who performs really well in the last year of his contract, very rarely does that ever work out.
I know.
That's the Detroit Lions, how Trey Flowers played for them, right?
All three of them did it, though. That's the issue. All three of them did that this year. Now, Pat Queen has obviously played good football up to this point, but all three of them this season, hands down, stands out as the best season that they've had in the league.
And there's some exceptions to that rule, right? Like Trey Hendricks was a guy who didn't do. Where was he? Is he in Cincy now?
Yeah, he's in Cincy. He was in New Orleans.
New Orleans, right? He didn't do much in New Orleans. Played really well in his contract year, and has continued to be a pretty decent edge rusher. He's been
a really solid edge rusher.
Yeah,
he's top 10 in sacks this year.
So but there's also many more stories of guys who perform really well one year, and then I don't like signing guys like that, but if you want to sign them, spend your money. I don't care.
I mean, I don't want to, but also Baltimore has a very large habit of having guys be Pro Bowlers and letting them walk, i.e. the guy in red sleeves that currently plays in New England.
Mm-hmm.
Franchise tagged him, let him walk, and I would have paid him the money that he got from New England in a fucking heartbeat.
He probably deserved that money, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, the issue is he was asking for an extra $20 million when he was in contract negotiations with us the year before. That's why he got traded. Mm-hmm. And I saw him sign the extension with you guys, and I was like, shoot me in the head. I would give him that money in a fucking heartbeat.
You mean he walked? He didn't get traded.
Yeah. That's what. So, going in contract negotiations, he wanted Von Miller money. We're like, all right, franchise tag. We'll talk about this later. Come back to it. Still wants Von Miller money. Hits free agency. And he's like, actually, I'll take a reasonable deal. And I'm like, shoot me in the fucking head. I wish he was still in Baltimore.
Yeah.
No, I think McDonald's a great hire. He's a great young defensive mind. I hear what you're saying about the fit, but I truly do think that he's going to make an outstanding head coach. He coached the first defensive triple crown in NFL history in points allowed, sacks, and takeaways this year for that Baltimore defense. Now, obviously, much more talented than Seattle's defense is, but I know that he's going to be able to. I mean, don't try to fucking throw against Seattle next year. I'm curious to see if they hold on to Jamal Adams. Do not be surprised if he still plays in Seattle next year, if he has another career year next year with McDonald at the helm. If you try to throw on Devon Witherspoon and Tariq Woolen next year, good fucking luck, buddy. I think Mike McDonald's going to have those guys playing some really fucking lockdown football. I'm heartbroken. And year in, year out, the Fire John Harbaugh movement has grown in Baltimore. This is probably the peak of it. Jim Harbaugh poached one of the guys from our front office to go be the GM or assistant GM over in LA. And so a lot of people are like, oh, move Harbaugh up into his spot, right? You can go into the front office, promote Mike Macdonald to be your head coach. We'll be good. It was never going to happen, especially with Jim Harbaugh being on the schedule for this year. I knew John wasn't going to walk away from being the head coach, and we weren't.
He's not going to, even if they offered him, he'll say, fire me and I'll go head coach somewhere else.
Yeah, I agree.
He'd get another job.
Most likely. But for a team that is known for its smash mouth defensive football to let one of the youngest and most successful coordinators in league history to just walk out the door like that, it kills me. It breaks my fucking heart. That's what we're known for. What's Baltimore known for? Smash mouth defensive football. We have the youngest and one of the best defensive coordinators in football, and we let him walk for free for a guy who has not succeeded in the playoffs since 2012. We've got 2 playoff wins since Lamar's taken over as a starter, and he missed 4 of the 5 postseasons in between the Super Bowl and Lamar taking over as a starter. So there's avid reason why people want him out in Baltimore. Again, I didn't even think about it until last offseason, and I definitely would say that I was on the train this year, but it was more so because I did not want this to happen. I did not want Mike Macdonald to walk out the door.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It breaks my fucking heart. I think Seattle got a great head coach. They signed him to a 6-year deal, which I was kind of surprised that it was that long of a deal, but he'll be 42 if he plays that contract out. So
yeah,
plenty of money to be made.
You say that, like Matt Rule got that kind of contract. He got a 7-year deal, I think, in Carolina, and he got fired 3 years in. So
Yeah, he'd probably still be the head coach if David Tepper wasn't in charge, but
yeah, he kind of was starting to turn the ship a little bit, but I think Matt Rule is just a college coach. He's just built to be it. We talked about it a little bit, but Detroit keeps Ben Johnson, and
huge.
I think that is the second biggest win of the offseason for a team keeping their coordinators. We'll talk about what I think the next one is, but
I would agree with you too.
Yeah, it's second, which is crazy to say because he was the hottest candidate. But the thing is, in my mind, it's a year. It's another year. You're kicking the can down the road. This isn't like, he's staying forever now.
For both of them, it is.
Yeah, true.
Kicking the can.
But I'm kind of surprised he's coming back a little bit. I thought for sure the Commander's job was the surefire fit for him. New ownership. You know, you pick your quarterback, you really get to build something there, and just didn't work. I don't know.
Pick your quarterback, and if you pick Sam Howell, you might get Marvin Harrison too. Like I know, like it's an option. He looks good this year, so yeah. I mean, I was kind of surprised, but again, I kind of like the move. Truthfully, like I don't think there's any need to just rush off. You know, you're going to be a top candidate, right? Like this is. We all know he's going to be the top guy next year, except for Bill Belichick, right? Which is, who would have thought that he wouldn't be a head coach somewhere?
Or Vrabel. I mean, Vrabel's still out there too.
It's fucking insane. So I guess, I mean, the only thing is Ben Johnson reclassifies to next year, but he does still have some staunch competition for the top jobs with those two guys being available. Unless one of those two guys ends up taking the Commander's job. That's still yet to be seen.
Yeah, it's possible. It's on the table.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about them interviewing Bieniemy for the spot at all. Have you?
Bieniemy interviewed for.
Has he interviewed
Commanders?
For
yeah.
I still don't think
I'm pretty sure he did.
Truthfully, but I don't know. Yeah, as much as this was the most talented head coaching class of all time, we're sitting here left with 4 of the top 9 candidates are still available here. You know, like with Johnson. Our guy we're going to talk about next, and Bobby Slowick, Bill Belichick, and Mike Vrabel are all available still. So it's going to be a very talented head coaching class next year as well.
Yeah, maybe he didn't. Oh, of course, now the first article, Commanders not considering adding Bill Belichick or Mike Vrabel, the head coach search. So.
Oh, well, there you go. They're going to be available next year, folks. But so are these top 2 OCs and Ben Johnson and our next guy.
Yeah, I think Bieniemy is on their radar. I don't think
he should be, because I get right. Drake May, maybe if for some reason somebody else takes somebody else at 1, and maybe Caleb Williams is available, but also Williams goes 1, and you really Bieniemy likes Sam Howell. He got good production out of Sam Howell up until probably like week 14 of this last year. If you really believe in Sam Howell that much, I'm telling you the possibility to take Marvin Harrison there and stack him next to Terry McLaurin or trade down and get a tackle, the possibilities are endless. Like, I get it, right? The quarterbacks are available, but whenever there's quarterbacks available at the top of the board, there's also a lot of teams that are going to try to come up, right? If Denver is really that serious about moving up and getting one of these top QBs, and I could trade back to 6, 7, 8, 9, take a tackle and get an extra first and an extra second, hell fucking yeah. You know, as long as I like Sam Howell that much. And if Brock Purdy can win a Super Bowl, Sam Howell can win a Super Bowl. Like, obviously the Commanders aren't as talented as the Niners are, but
that's not a scale you should use ever.
No,
but
it's not.
I don't know. I
depends on how moved you are by these top quarterbacks.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think this evaluation of you have the shot at the top 3, I would take a guy. You know what I mean? Now, if they were sitting 9, 10, 11, I think it's a different conversation, right? Like, I don't know. It
also depends on how, like, I mean, if Sean Payton is really, because here's the thing. As the stories came out that they want to try to trade up and go get Caleb Williams. And of course, if you're going to move up to get one of them, you'll settle for one of the top quarterbacks regardless. If Sean Payton goes to his GM and is like, hey, man, I want the second pick of the draft. I want it. I want to go draft our quarterback to go win for the future. I want that pick. Obviously, no one in Denver is going to be like, go fuck yourself, Sean, right?
Yeah.
And the call comes in and it's a ridiculous fucking offer. I get it. But are you that sold on Drake May or on a Jaden Daniels at that point?
Yeah, I don't know.
I haven't dug into the evals all the way and done my research. I definitely didn't watch enough of Drake May this year. Obviously I saw Jaden Daniels play, but again, that a massive part of Jaden Daniels is, are you going to mold your offense around him? Lamar Jackson does not succeed in Joe Flacco's offense. Lamar Jackson succeeded because Baltimore was like, all right, bring in Greg Roman, rehaul the whole thing. We're going to do everything differently, and we're going to run a playbook that you've never seen at this level before. That's why Lamar Jackson succeeded. Does Jaden Daniels need that much of an overhaul? No, but you definitely cannot just drop him into an NFL offense and be like, this guy's a top 10 guy in the league.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I'll say too is Daniels, I think, is a better thrower of the ball than Lamar was coming out of college. Like, yeah. I will say that out loud. Like, I think for sure he is slightly better than Lamar was coming out. So I don't know if you have to completely retool it. I think Jaden Daniels is a better passer than a lot of people realize. So
fair. I can take that. But again, like I said, I haven't done the evals. I'm doing this blind here.
Yeah, I think he's so tough. Like he's gonna be so good. I don't know. I like a lot of these guys. This is one of those years where I slowly fall in love with everybody.
Who do you want at 3?
Who do I want at 3?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you saying I have the option?
You moved up to 1. Say
who would I take?
Yeah.
To not take Caleb Williams would be a mistake at 1. I think like everyone's putting the top 3 guys clumped, and I think Jaden Daniels deserves to be in the conversation. Mm-hmm. The only thing that scares me about Jaden Daniels is we haven't really seen someone of his build work yet. Mm-hmm. Like he is very Justin Fields to me, where it's like a good thrower and also extremely athletic, you know what I mean? But not necessarily a great thrower. Whereas like Caleb Williams' comp is like Patrick Mahomes, right? Play style wise, he's very close to Patrick Mahomes. Drake May, his play style is a comp to Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Like maybe not the athletic freak that Josh Allen is of being as tall and being able to run over guys, but like Drake May is just as athletic. Like Drake May is that dude's going to be, he's one of those guys that nobody watched him because he played at freaking UNC and played in ACC, so nobody ever watches ACC. Like you were like,
I guess if there's anybody that would have watched ACC football, it would have been
to me. I'm like the only person I know that watches ACC football, right? Like,
yeah, except for my boss.
Yeah. I think we might be the only 2 people left that care about ACC football. But that dude, man, I mean, he took a bet. Like UNC was not good. Like they were okay at best, and he made them good. Like he is a guy that. Like Josh Allen, it's hard to see because he was on such a bad team and he elevated it so much. Like that's the kind of guy I love drafting. He played at a college where the talent wasn't there and made the talent good to great. Like those are the guys I like drafting more than I like drafting.
Took a bad team to bowl eligible, not bowl eligible to college football playoff, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Like that team probably wouldn't make a bowl without him, and they're like playing on a decent bowl, where it's like I don't love taking Mac Jones when he has 15 college football wide receivers on his team.
Yep.
I mean, I could say the same thing for Tua, right? Like it's really hard to evaluate that talent at the college level, and Jaden Daniels is unique. Caleb Williams is just another level talent, but again, with him having the connection to Lincoln Riley, it's so hard to tell what he'll be in the NFL. And he's a guy where I think his situation matters more than maybe the other 2 somewhat.
Oh, I 100% agree with you. If you plug him into a bad offense where he is relied upon and he has to, I think he's going to struggle, truthfully. I know that that's what he does best is work outside of structure. But when a guy has zero structure, he makes mistakes. Even if he gunslings with the best of them, that's exactly what Zach Wilson is. You plugged him into a bad offense, and you're like, all right, well, you're used to just fucking freeballing it. Keep doing it. And you're like, brother, I can't do that against an NFL defense. This is a different level of competition I'm playing against here.
But, yeah, I mean, my quarterback rankings right now would be Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels. Michael Penix is 4. I think he's a guy who sneaks into the first round.
Good man, you are.
The more I've I've watched of his, the more I like.
Anyone who thinks JJ McCarthy should be drafted over him should be fired immediately.
I do think it then goes Bo Nix and then JJ. I think.
Did see a headline today. Apparently, Bo Nix is struggling out of the Senior Bowl. Not throwing good balls.
He did not look great, which is scary for a guy who's like 35 years old.
Yeah.
But like the problem is like this isn't a class where it's like, where there's like Stetson Bennett's going to be like in the fourth round. Outside of those 6, it's like Spencer Rattler. It's like, but he was just nothing but a disappointment. Like,
hey, here's a guy with attitude issues. What else does he have? Fucking nothing.
Nothing. Then it's like the rest of it. It's just like, I mean, Jordan Travis is kind of the big, like, what if,
Yeah.
Where he was really special, but it's like, again, he's probably going to end up going in like the 4th, 5th, 6th. He's going to be a late.
Hey, you're pick. Looking at how good that Detroit Lions team is. Don't forget that Hendon Hooker is stashed, waiting over there for him.
Stashed. Yeah.
Hey, just wait till the next great Ohio State quarterback comes out next year. Will Howard. Okay.
Well,
first round draft pick.
It's like Will Howard, Jesus. Kyle McCord's the guy who I'm watching.
That's yeah, brother.
Big Kyle McCord guy.
Gonna cement himself as a Syracuse legend.
Dude, I'm gonna get a Kyle McCord jersey this year. You watch. I'm gonna rock that. I love Kyle. Kyle McCord's my dude.
I think he probably is gonna tear it up. I mean,
low key bet next season Syracuse to win the ACC. Not insane. We don't have Clemson. Not. Our hardest game is Miami, but we get Miami at home. So
you don't play Clemson?
We don't play Clemson next year.
Do you guys have an ACC title game, or is it just record?
No, we have a title game.
Oh, you do have a title game? Okay.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah, well, if Dabo Swinney doesn't get with the times and learn that you got to hit the transfer portal to get some guys, he is quickly going to find himself. I mean, he's already fallen because he refuses to hit the fucking portal.
Syracuse is a top 3 team in the ACC, no doubt, with Fran Brown and Kyle McCord. There's just no question.
I love it.
That defense is going to be stacked.
Dustin's shaving his beard next year, boys. Look
at. I don't know if we're going to do that again next year. We probably have to. I feel like it's too. I
mean, you can't back out now. This is the year that you're like probably have the most guaranteed shot at it.
This is the first year we go head to head, so now it becomes real interesting.
Yeah.
Do we just put it all on the head to head?
That would be really interesting, actually.
Like double or nothing.
How early in the season is it?
I want to say it's a later game. I
think loser of the season shaves the beard. Loser of the head-to-head shaves the head.
Shaves the head.
Full bald. I cannot imagine. There's no way. I don't think he would ever do it.
Me?
No.
Oh, him? Yeah. No,
I can't imagine him ever shaving his head.
No shot.
Not a chance in hell. Dustin is my boss at work, for anyone who doesn't know. Tim's old boss at good old Dick's Sporting Goods right here.
Oh, last game of the year.
Oh, shit.
November 30th.
You have to. Because imagine if that's like the tiebreaker game.
That would be
both like 6-6 or 6-5.
It's not happening. We're wrecking everybody.
Fucking hilarious.
I mean, we have to go to Boston College, but they just lost their head coach.
Yeah, they're probably gonna stink.
They're gonna stink. Pitt. We've got Pitt. Man, that's kind of it. We play a bunch of nobodies. Georgia Tech was okay last year.
Shit. Look at us talking about college football here.
Oh, man, we got to play Holy Cross. We got to play the guy who was up. Holy Cross, that guy was up. Dan Lanning was up for the head coaching job, too.
Oh, God.
He was on people's top 5 list. Dan Lanning was a lot of people's number 1.
Yeah, he was.
People were shocked we didn't end up going with him. But
here we go.
We'll see. My ideal world was we were going to hire who did Michigan just announce as their head coach?
Sharon Moore.
Sharon Moore. We would hire Sharon Moore. Mike Hart comes back to Syracuse as the OC. He brings Sharon Moore, brings him along. That would have been, and then Mike Hart takes over when Sharon Moore got a better job. But
fun fact: Sharon Moore, 2004 Derby Panther graduate.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I didn't know that until he got hired, and then everybody started talking about it. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Sharon Moore. Who was the guy that was somebody went to where'd you go to school? What was it called?
Derby.
No, college.
Oh, Butler.
Who was the Butler guy that just got hired?
Press Taylor, probably.
Press Taylor. Yeah.
I don't remember where he got hired at, but I remember I was like, why does that name sound familiar? It's because I used to hear it all the time at a good old Butler Community
Yeah,
College.
where did Press Taylor get hired?
Zach Taylor, his Press Taylor's brother, also a Butler Community College Grizzly, head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. Got quite a few ties. Also, Titans legend Zach Mettenberger, former Butler Community College grad.
Dang, you guys have a lot.
That's what they're. I mean, DeMarcus Lawrence was a Pro Bowler for the Cowboys. He went to Butler. Like, there are some guys, but there are some funny ones where you're like, Zach Mettenberger didn't fucking know he's an All-American at Butler. Didn't know that until I went there and saw his picture in the hallway. So,
all right, to get us back on track here, Texans also keep everybody, who I think is a bigger win. The fact that CJ Stroud gets another year of why can't I think of his name?
Bobby Slowick.
Bobby Slowick, thank you.
Another guy in the prestigious Kyle Shanahan tree.
Yeah. So Bobby Slowick stays another year. I was not super surprised. Typically, after one hot year, you don't necessarily get poached right away. But
tell that to Mike fucking McDonald.
Yeah, big win. That division is slowly gotten very interesting.
Oh, 100%.
Like, Jags are good. Shane Steichen proved he can coach. Like, they won a lot of games with Gardner Minshew.
9 games with fucking Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, so if Anthony Richardson...
4 overall last year.
Yeah, if Anthony Richardson's anything at all, like, that team is going to be scary. And then, I mean, you talk about the Texans coming back. Like, that division just got real... 3 teams that are real interested.
Yeah, sorry, it was too early. I thought you were going to talk about the Titans, and I was like...
No.
Perennial bottom beaters.
Yeah, they're
Mike Vrabel, you dumbass.
They're like the worst team in that division without question.
I feel so sorry for Drew. Drew's a Titans fan. They go from
okay.
Yeah, Bryce's brother Drew.
Yeah.
They go from probably the best or the second best head coach in that division to the worst. Like that.
Easily. Yeah, I think like there's no question.
Like a fucking Thanos snap. They go down.
I would argue probably goes D'Amico Ryans 1, Dougie P 2. I don't know.
That's tough.
That's like all 3 of those guys are both like middle of the road. None of them
truthfully, I would agree with you. Because this is Doug Peterson's second year, right?
Or second year in Jacksonville.
Yeah. Truth be told, whole lot of fucking nothing. We play for postseason, but they fucking choked it away in week 18 this year, and they had. Oh, I guess no, they beat the Chargers last year. Got a playoff win last year.
Yeah, no one thought they were going to be that good last year. Expectations were high this year. Trevor Lawrence was talked about as an MVP guy. Definitely was not that all year.
What's up, Beans? Looking right at me.
Yeah, I know. Staring into the camera.
What are you fucking looking at?
Goofball.
But no, yeah, I would agree with you. D'Amico Ryans might be 1. I get that that's early, but he's definitely 2. And Steichen's 3, but we'll see what happens when he has a healthy quarterback.
It's like Steichen could be 1 at the end of next year.
True.
And like any 3 of those guys could be, coach. Any 3 of those guys could be coach of the year next year, and it wouldn't blow me out of the water.
No, would not.
Last one I want to talk about is the Eagles add Kellen Moore. And for us, we thought there was a coordinator problem. We were like, man, it's tough to lose both coordinators. They made massive upgrades, right?
Yeah, 100%. You go get one of the best defensive coordinators ever, Vic Fangio last week, and then you add Kellen Moore this week. And I think it's great hires because I don't think anybody's looking at Fangio as a head coach next year or anytime soon. And truthfully, I don't think anybody's looking at Kellen Moore as a head coach hire right away. Even if they come out and play great, I still would rather have Ben Johnson. I'd rather have Bobby Slowick, right? Vrabel and Belichick are both available.
Yeah.
There are many, many more guys that I would rather hire than Kellen Moore. So I think they've got him for at least 2, if not 3 years.
If Jalen Hurts wins an MVP, maybe not. But yeah, I think besides that.
Yeah, it definitely depends.
He has to be on that level of play. But I do like it, right? Like, he was good in it was good in LA. He was good in Dallas. Like he's a good safe bet, right? Like that offense is going to be better than it was last year. I'm curious to see, do they bring back DeAndre Swift? Do they let him walk? Like what is the plan there? I'm ultra curious in that, but I think it was the right move for Philly to kind of try to hold the ship together here.
God. The Titans just hired Baltimore's defensive backs coach as their new DC.
Nice.
We didn't even make the Super Bowl. We're getting fucking poached left and right. I'm sick of this shit.
That's how it goes.
God damn it, man. Well, I know that's how it goes, but at least I'd like to fucking win a Super Bowl to make up for it. You know, we didn't even fucking get the prize. People are still like, man, give me that shit. God damn it. Fuck. That sucks. Continue. Sorry.
No, you're good. That's pretty much all I got. Anything else you want to talk about this week?
Yeah, it's gonna be a long off season for Ravens fans. I'm not looking forward to it. Even without looking at John Harbaugh, I just get to listen to people spin stupid fucking narratives about my quarterback for 8 months with no chance of rebuttal till the season start next year. Not looking forward to it. Kind of want to die on the inside, but I'm very excited to look forward to the draft and talk about that because, again, I think this top 5 is the most unpredictable I think we've ever seen. Honestly, like the Bears could keep Williams, they could keep Fields, the Commanders could keep Howe, they could go May. The only lock is that the Patriots take a quarterback at 3, but it all depends on who's available at 3, about who they get. And then 4, the Cardinals, you take a tackle. Do you take Marvin Harrison if he's there? Do you trade down?
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you who 5 is. Like, we are in for a very interesting and very long. I hope you guys have your fire extinguishers and your gas masks because we're going to be seeing a lot of smoke screens this offseason when it comes to the draft.
It's going to be interesting. And as we go forward, yeah, we'll probably have a show next week, show post Super Bowl, probably take a little break, jump back into, the draft process and stuff like that. 100%. Probably 2 or 3 episodes leading up to the draft. And then 1 post draft would be my guess is what we're going to run. Mm-hmm. Something like that. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But yeah, you got us for at least another 2 weeks. So
100%.
But all right. Well, catch back next week to hear our Super Bowl predictions, our bets for the game. And until then, stay safe and we'll see you next time.